Our local pitcher plants are in this genus or this family called Sarraceniaceae. They're in the genus Sarracenia, which is also shown here. These are not the local species to Wisconsin, but similar strategy. These are modified leaves. So the leaves are basically rolled up. They have this little bit of a lid kind of feature, lip, and some amount of water in there is really the trap. So the insects explore in this area, they get stuck without being able to get out, and they drown in there. And this plant has the ability to basically absorb their nutrients in the water through like the base of this leaf. The flowers, you don't often see the flowers, or you might not identify these plants by their flowers. The flowers are rather extravagant. They're built on a 5-petal, 5-sepal system. But what's kind of weird about them is they have these enormous style. So I say style and not stigma because most of this is not receptive to pollen. So it's basically the tissue in between the ovary and the stigma is style, even though we're going to call this style flattened into kind of an umbrella. I'll show you a cross section or a longitudinal section through this in a little bit. The stigma parts of these are located kind of here and here on the inner surface of this. So there's this whole like pollinator trap. And of course, this is not the carnivorous trap. This is just sort of a hiding place for pollinators. So this kind of upside down umbrella thing combined with the shielding portions of the sepals there create a nice little hiding place for insects. They crawl in there and explore for a while, get some pollen on them, crawl their way out through the stigma locations and leave some pollen off there. And this is the part about the petals. If you catch them just right, you can see their petals. These are petals proper, but the petals are deciduous. They fall off. So during the process of development, the petals aren't there for super long, and you often more see them like this, where the sepals are left over, this giant style is left over, but the petals are gone at this point. They develop into a capsule fruit. So I should probably show you this first. Someone has carefully cut away a portion of that big umbrella style. You can see the more traditional style there is extending portion. Can't quite see the stigmas in this position, but there would be receptive stigma tissue kind of at the 5 points of this. And then lots of stamens in there. You can see the floral formula, 5 sepals, 5 petals, lots of stamens, and a superior ovary that gives us our capsule there again. And locally, we do have members of this genus, Sarracenia purpurea, the purple pitcher plant. And a nice highlight here, you can see one of its modifications to keep insects from escaping is these hairs that are stiff and pointing downwards. So if you're in the water and trying to crawl out, the surface is very slick here, and you make it to this portion and the hairs are pointing against you. It would be a lot of work to crawl out of there, and many insects do not make it out. This is a plant in its nutrient poor habitat. This grows in bogs, so we can find it not too far from campus in some of our local bogs, producing the leaves. And then also these are the stalks kind of, I don't know if this is early season with last year's stalks on there. That might be my guess. But they would produce the flowers and fruits during the reproductive parts of the year. So I mentioned Sarracenia quite a bunch. This is a widespread genus. You can see where Sarracenia plants are located, 10 species. This is just from a study of the family overall, Sarraceniaceae. There's a few like displaced parts of this family. So another genus called Darlingtonia, one species is called the cobra lily sometimes, has much more elaborate hood kind of structure, and that's found in the Pacific Northwest. And this other genus, also in Sarraceniaceae, called Helianthera, is in South America with quite a few species. So widespread family, but not a contiguous range across all that distance.